So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about something a bit different. I'm going to talk about haters. Haters it's a concept of an anonymous or non-anonymous account or person posting hateful or rude comments on your social media accounts. Even some going as far as stalker mentality, which means stalking you or sending unwanted gifts or even threatening letters, or it can become very, very aggressive. But most haters are just plain old people who are jealous or irritated about the person that is out there, you or whoever it is they're hating on. And I wrote a whole column for Digital Teknik, so digital technology, which is a tech magazine here in Sweden that I write for as a columnist about entrepreneurship and startups. And why I did that was because I got one of my first really more like aggressive comments, a real like hate comment on my Instagram account, my private one, which is Hey Shumei. And I had never gotten that kind of anonymous, hateful comment before. So someone had obviously done a new account. It was completely blank, and they were only following celebrities and writing hateful comments on their channels too. For me, it was kind of strange and a little bit funny because my column was all about embrace your haters and celebrating my first hate comment on my Instagram account. And people asked me privately, like, why would you do that? Isn't that like crazy? That must have been so hurtful. And for me, it's not. It's just a person who spent a lot of time starting a new account just to tell me something they're afraid to tell me to my face. And for me, that's a coward. And that's not really a person I have any interest in listening to as their actual feedback. And that tied me into what actually real feedback you should be looking for. And also how to think about haters and the concept of haters. And there is a concept when it comes to social media or being a media focused entrepreneur, is that you haven't gotten anywhere, you haven't said enough until you get haters. Because until you create that tension in between people who like what you're doing and people who don't like what you're doing, you're not expressing strong enough opinions. And that's what makes people follow other people. It's because they express very clearly their opinions and what they stand for. And that's always going to bring haters. So if you have haters, you're actually doing something right. One thing about this is I realized that I have been an entrepreneur for so long now that this was not something unexpected. I was expecting this. I just didn't know when it would arrive. And I realized that's kind of like a comfort level you get to when you've done business for a long time, when you've been an entrepreneur for a long time, because you will always have people challenging you. You will always have naysayers. And what you have to understand is there's two things that you have to see in this, is that this is just part of your life. If you're an entrepreneur, you would probably be in social media, because that's the kind of world we live in right now, and or in media, traditional media, and having people not like what you do is just part of it, and that should not affect you as a person. And if it does, don't read it. See that, as I said, it's part of showing you that that's one part. That means also you have people who like you so much that they're willing to defend you to this person. But it's also because if you get wrapped up in a world where everybody stands up and cheers and claps at you every time you do anything, you will never get sincere feedback. And you will be wrapped up in a world where you think nothing can go wrong and you can never do wrong. So having just yay-sayers who love everything you do and say that everything is perfect all the time, it's going to make you crash pretty soon. Because if you get used to that and not getting any critique, it's going to be so rough for you when you actually receive any critique. And if you want to be a good leader, if you want to be good at what you do, a specialist in your field, or if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to search for feedback. That's what you need to do as an entrepreneur, and that's what you need to do if you're a leader of some kind. You have to always search out the rough, hard, reality check kind of feedback, because that's what's going to bring you forward. I'm not saying that you should listen to all critique you get all the time, but you should gather it as much as you can. In every opportunity, you should search for criticism so that you can gather it and see what kind of balance you get. So see what the world thinks about you so you can reflect on yourself and see where you want to find that middle way, that balance. And it's one of the things that most leaders and most entrepreneurs are afraid of. They're afraid of criticism, and that's what's keeping them from going bigger, bolder, and better. And that's what I want for you as a listener and a viewer of our channel. I want you to go bigger, bolder, and get further. And this is harsh and hard to do, and I know it's not easy, but it's not easy for anyone. Social anxiety is built into us as people. But I want you to challenge that, and I want you to go out this week and ask 5 people you know, no matter if it's your relatives, your best friends, your colleagues, your boss, your employees, anyone that's around you, ask them to give you feedback on who you are, how you act, your professional approach, the work you do, just anyone. So start getting comfortable with getting feedback, because that's what's going to get you so far. And I can tell you, as a professional business advisors, there is so few that even in that combination where I'm there to help them through this journey with critique, where I'm supposed to be the safe place where they can get all the critique they need to go out there and do it better, most people don't ask for feedback. They don't ask for critique. And they're afraid of what they're going to hear because they want to look perfect all the time. But really, if they're going to get help from an advisor or mentor, they should show their most vulnerable self, their biggest anxieties, their biggest fears about their companies, because then we can really make a difference. But as long as you try to be an outer shell of super success all the time, that's not going to bring you anywhere. And that's not going to give you any good advice. Because if you're in my position, you know that kind of person, you see that kind of person, and you know that they're not going to be coachable. So think about this, embrace your haters and the concept of this. I'm going to link my article below, but be aware it's in Swedish, so only for my Swedish followers. And I also have another version of this in English, and it's going to be linked below. It's on our blog. And I hope you got something out of this, and please comment below what you think about this, and I'll see you in the next episode.